Hi. I just love how right before I go live, it always says there's a poor internet connection. So then I start out the video like looking at my screen confused before we get this started. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Hearing Rehab. Thanks for being here. I'm Rierson. I'm a doctor of audiology and owner of Adaptive Audiology Solutions. Wanted to get started right away with our next topic today, which is rechargeable hearing aids, what you need to know. And before I get started, every hearing rehab topic is inside our newsletter that we send out quarterly. If you'd like to receive our newsletter, just give us a call or reach out to us somehow, Facebook, email, however you'd like to reach out to us, please do so. We'll get you on our mailing list. And we put in here just information about hearing technologies, industry news, some nice tips, troubleshooting tips, and then a recipe. Always a recipe. This most recent newsletter has the open house cheese ball that people get so excited about every Christmas. So many requests for what's in this cheese ball. So now we know. Now you can find that recipe also on our Facebook page. So anyway, today's topic is rechargeable hearing aids, what you need to know. So this, rechargeable hearing aids are nothing new, but I just find that many people have very common questions, similar questions. So I thought it would be good just to kind of go over those again. Also, rechargeable hearing aids, while not new, are not the same today as they were 5 years ago or 6 years ago, just like so many other things. So I thought it'd be good to cover that again too, because I last talked about this in 2023, and even since then things have changed quite a bit. So it's good to revisit these topics and talk about them again. Before we talk about rechargeable hearing aids, it's important to just address what we used to always have to use, which was disposable hearing aid batteries. The issues with these were numerous, from the size of the actual battery that patients had to change, to the amount of time, how often you had to change them. For something as small as the one I just showed you, changed every 3 to 4 days in some cases. The bigger ones, maybe once a week. Which was difficult. You'd be mid-conversation and your battery might go dead, or just having to remember to carry batteries with you and to have them at your disposal. Now, they are packaged in a child-proof way, which makes them really hard to access. And a patient called and joked that he opened his new batteries and he had to go to the hospital for stitches. That was a joke. But I totally understood what he was saying, because you have to, with the new packaging, you have to take off the paper back, which I already did. So you take off the back part of it, and then you have to cut out each individual cell, and it's not easy. So I feel that more and more people will be going towards rechargeable because of these concerns and issues that we're seeing. And people complained about the cost of batteries as well. Today we don't charge any more for rechargeable hearing aids than we do hearing aids that take disposable batteries. So technically, yes, getting rechargeable hearing aids is going to save you a little bit of money because you won't be buying the rechargeable batteries. Let's see. The beginning with the first few rechargeable technologies we had, which would date back to even like 2017 or 2018, I think, they were a battery that we put into the device. They were not encased and closed in on their own, so we could replace that battery. And while that sounded really nice, because that meant like you didn't have to send it in, if it needed a new battery, you could just replace it in-house. We had lots of issues with just the length of use, the ability for them, their durability wasn't as good. There was a lot of moisture still that got into the hearing aid because of the battery door not being fully sealed off. So it just wasn't very successful. And in like 2019, 2020, they transitioned into lithium-ion batteries, and that phased out those older technologies, and those older technologies could no longer use any rechargeable batteries. So those things can happen. There are always some growing pains with technology changes like that, but lithium-ion batteries have been a huge success for patients. In that first few years, we had some issues, especially during COVID times. We had some issues with supply, and we had some batteries that just were not sufficient in how they were operating. There was a couple companies we kind of stepped away from because their battery life just wasn't what they said it was going to be. And we're just seeing that people were replacing their battery every 1.5 years, which is just not acceptable. So that is something that has really improved, really improved today, and I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. How long should my battery last on a rechargeable battery? Rechargeable battery life used to be about 20 hours for most manufacturers. Now there are some manufacturers that can even go to 40 or 50 hours of battery life. And of course, no one's going to wear their hearing aid straight for 40 hours. But the idea is that even as the battery starts to decline in function and ability and length of use, and you will see that your battery still is working for a full day. So even though it can't fully charge anymore after 4 years, you're still getting a full day of battery life. And so that's the idea behind that, as well as people are doing more and more Bluetooth streaming. So you're going to start to see, that's going to become more of a factor, and that does drive down the battery life faster. So streaming from your phone, listening to podcasts, listening to music, listening to TV shows through your hearing aids, as well as perhaps pairing your hearing aids to your smart TV or to your Peloton and streaming, just constant streaming. I mean, my generation is doing a lot of streaming. The generation younger than me is doing even more. So this is going to be something that's going to continue to be very, very important in the years to come. And so these longer battery life technologies are great. The other thing that's nice about the batteries, the rechargeable batteries lasting longer, is that they if you forget your charger, you could just turn your hearing aids off and still get maybe 2 days of battery life out of them. So that is one thing. If you travel and you forget your charger, you're in trouble. And that's not good. We do have people that come in from the community that are visiting family and have forgotten their charger, and we can loan them a charger, or sometimes they just wait and have their hearing aids charged in the office for the day and then go about their day. And an inconvenience. So the longer the battery can last, it's nice to know, well, I'm going somewhere overnight, I forgot my charger, I'll just turn my hearing aids off tonight, and then tomorrow they'll last me all day again. So those are nice things to think about with the increased battery life these new hearing aids are offering. Let's see, before the warranty expires on these hearing aids, we do like to have them sent in and have the battery replaced. Most hearing aid manufacturers offer a 3-year warranty, so we are going to, at the end of that warranty, let our patients know, hey, your warranty is about to expire. We would recommend that you send these in and have the battery replaced, have everything looked at, and we'll always give our patients loaners so that they don't have to go without hearing, that they can hear while their hearing aids are out for repair. So we definitely recommend doing that, because even though we expect the battery life to be 5 years, that the entire, that battery should last at least 5 years in that hearing aid, why not at the end of 3 years have it replaced? Because we know at 3 years that battery is not as good as it was on day one. And so that's important to consider, and something we encourage our patients to do. Another question is, will using rechargeable batteries affect the life of my hearing aid? No, not at all. I mean, we can't promise that you can repair your rechargeable hearing aid 10 years from now. That's unlikely. The manufacturer might say no, and that's completely possible, and we are a bit at their mercy for that reason. However, most people do not keep their hearing aids for 10 years. They typically upgrade their technologies every 5 years. So yes, perhaps it could affect the lifespan slightly in terms of how long you're able to repair them, but how long they last, that's going to be very typical across technologies and across manufacturers, that hearing aids generally need a repair about every 5 years. About every 5 years, the microphone has just corroded over time due to exposure to different temperatures and just life conditions, sweat, whatever moisture you come across. The speaker, the same thing. Speaker sitting in the ear for 5 years is going to need a repair due to the moisture in the ear canal. And the battery, if it's a rechargeable, the battery is going to need replacing. So there's so many different things that are going to need to be conditioned at 5 years that are really, compared to disposable batteries, you're going to see about the same same lifespan of a hearing aid. Can my batteries overcharge? Your batteries will not overcharge if left on the charger. They are considered like an evergreen type battery, I guess you would say. So, you really can't overcharge them. We tell our patients, if they're not in your ears, they should be on the charger or in a safe place if it's during the day and you're away from home and you're away from your charger. But you can just leave them on the charger. some of my patients in the beginning were they were putting their hearing aids on the charger like at 7 at night, and most hearing aids take about 3.5 hours for a full charge. So then at 10:30 at night, they were unplugging their charger. Well, then the battery went dead at like noon the next day. So if the charger, most chargers require to be plugged in. Some have their own lithium battery built into the charger itself, and that's so that you can go camping, or if you drive semi or something where you're not at home every night, you have a charging capability that's self-contained. So some have that, and then they can be unplugged and used. But for most chargers, they must be plugged in order for there to be power going to the charger. And once those hearing aids go into the charger, they turn off. So you need to make sure that that's plugged in, or if you unplug it, they turn on. So that was something we caught. This one patient, her hearing aids kept going dead in the middle of the day, and finally I started thinking, wait a minute, what's going on here? And the issue was that she was unplugging it before she went to bed. So the hearing aids were working plenty long, just she wasn't wearing them while they were working. So something to keep in mind, But I haven't really showed you any, but there are some that have a self-contained lithium battery in the charger like this one. You can even press this little button on the bottom to see how many days of charge it has in it. And then you don't have to bring, this one takes a C charger. Most of them now take a C charger that you plug into the wall. You got to charge this up every so many days, but in between you can just take it like this and carry it with you. I always tell patients, if you have a charger with a lithium ion battery, you need to bring this in your carry-on when you fly. You don't want to check this in your checked luggage, although I would say no matter what type of charger you have, you should bring it in your carry-on luggage in case something were to happen and you had a flight diverted or just a delay and you needed your charger with you. So, or your luggage gets lost. All these things happen with travel. So no matter what, put your charger in your carry-on luggage when you travel. So this one here, this one does not have a battery built into it. The reason they don't put lithium batteries in every charger is because they're expensive to repair. Like if we have to send them in, it just costs a lot shipping wise to send in these chargers as well as the hearing aids. So that's why, I don't know, they've gone back and forth. They started out all making them with battery packs in them. Then they went back to not putting battery packs in them. And now there's kind of a mix. So so sometimes patients will get 2 chargers because with our top premium technology, you can get an extra accessory with your purchase at no charge, which is about a $300 value. So some people get one with a battery pack and one without. So they have one that they put in their travel case whenever they travel, and they have that and they know they're good to go. So that's good to think about. Let's see. But yes, you cannot overcharge them. You can't overcharge your batteries. If you are going to store, say someone has passed away in your family and you don't want to get rid of the hearing aids, but no one's going to use them for an extended time, maybe 6 months or so. You can store them, but you don't want to leave them plugged in. You'll want to turn them off and then store them inside the case turned off. So like this hearing aid here has a button on it. And if I hold that button down for like 5 seconds, I'll see a flashing light and that will tell me that it's turning off, and then I can just set it inside the case. Or if you're not sure how to turn these off because they're not yours, you can just take them out, let them sit out. After 20 hours, they probably will be completely depleted, and then just set them inside the charger, unplug them, and just put them away. So that's you don't want to leave them plugged in for like months at a time. That could be hard on them. How often should my batteries be charged? Charged every night. Let's see, it takes about 3.5 hours for a full charge. What happens if your batteries get low on power? They'll give you a low battery warning, and then after about an hour, they'll turn off. You will get consistent power until they turn off. That's the same as zinc air batteries. They operate the same way. And you can get rechargeable custom hearing aids. That's something people ask. You don't have to get behind the ear for rechargeable. You can do something that's custom. It's pretty much going to be about this size. You're not going to be able to get something much smaller than in the canal style. And that's going to kind of sit on the charger like that and charge. These are a great solution for patients who have low vision issues, because sometimes putting the piece behind the ear and in the ear, while people think that's going to be easier, it actually can be harder. And of course, when you have very poor vision, changing batteries is out of the question. So this custom rechargeable is a great solution for people with dexterity issues or for people with vision issues, as low vision, as well as for anyone that wears oxygen all day. They may not want something else on top of their ear, so a custom rechargeable can be a great solution. Let's see. Drying hearing aids. So sweat and moisture are not good for hearing aids. That's always been the case. With the new rechargeable technologies and how that lithium-ion battery is inside the hearing aid and it's not accessible remotely, you have to send it in to get it replaced. It's completely encased inside the hearing aid, so there's no way for moisture to ingress into the device like there was with disposable batteries, and so that really has reduced repair issues. We do not have the same type of moisture issues we used to have with batteries. However, I do have some patients who work outside in the heat all day in the summer. They are constantly sweating bad and they need a way to dry out their hearing aids when they take them out at night. So for those patients, I typically recommend that they get an electric dryer. They put the hearing aids in the electric dryer, run them. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes for a full cycle, and then put them on the charger. It's a little bit extra work, but it really improves the longevity of the hearing aids, and we've had good success with that. So definitely moisture is still something we have to consider, but actually it's so much better with rechargeable than what we had previously. So that's pretty exciting. And you can get the same technology in hearing aids, whether they're rechargeable or disposable, for most manufacturers. There are maybe some manufacturers now that there's certain technologies or styles that are only offered in rechargeable, but generally you can still get disposable batteries. I really recommend disposable batteries, especially for people who maybe don't feel comfortable that they'll always remember their charger. Maybe they're constantly on the go. They may prefer disposable batteries. Children typically, most kids, especially teenagers and college-age kids, disposable batteries is probably a better solution. Routine. There's, until you have a really solid routine as an adult, sometimes doing rechargeable hearing aids is difficult. It's different than if your phone runs out of battery. You can still communicate with people without a phone, but if you can't hear and you got to go to class and you stayed overnight at somebody's house, you certainly would need to have, I think disposable batteries are a better choice for most of those kids, but each to their own. Someone just commented, Azim asked, I have single-sided deafness. What is most suitable for me? Well, that would depend, Azim, on I need more information. We do have what we call a cross technology where the sound is sent from the poor ear to the good ear. And those come in rechargeable technologies now. And while the battery life has always been an issue, there is one manufacturer that offers a cross technology that has excellent battery life that will last all day. So that's very exciting. There's also other implantable solutions that might be more suitable for you. So it would just depend on your hearing loss in your good ear. If your good ear is completely normal versus if you have some hearing loss in your good ear, that would affect what I would recommend for you. So thanks for asking. Let's see. So yes, disposable batteries are definitely an option. Also, if I have someone with a severe to profound loss in both ears, I am probably not going to recommend rechargeable. They have rechargeable power behind the ear aids. They have them. I have not been happy with them. I've had patients with multiple repair issues, which has been really disheartening. So I typically recommend disposable batteries for power technologies. Also, if you have a severe to profound loss, you cannot run out of battery life. If you say you get in an accident or you have a health incident and they run you to the hospital in the ambulance, what happens if your battery goes dead overnight and you don't have your charger? How are you going to communicate with your providers? So this is something I've learned through experience. I've heard of from other people. I've talked with other providers and learned from other providers that in general, people with severe to profound hearing loss do best using disposable batteries. The technologies they just last. They're more durable. They seem like they do a better job. I don't know if it's like the amount of power required for a severe to profound loss that keeps it from lasting like it should and being as durable as I typically see. But in general, severe to profound losses, we're going to recommend disposable batteries, both for their safety and they're, you know, and they just need consistent use no matter what the conditions say. We almost lost power the other night, right? We almost didn't have power because of the storm. If you lose power, you can't charge your hearing aids. You don't have hearing the next day. So it's much more risky for people with severe to profound loss. So for that reason, we recommend disposable batteries. Let's see. Azim says, using cross, right. Well, you definitely want to make sure that's, you know, we know that untreated hearing loss accelerates cognitive decline, right? Our brains are all going to age. You know, we can't prevent that. But if we have untreated hearing loss or untreated vision impairment, that's going to accelerate that decline. And we know while the connection between untreated hearing loss and cognitive decline, that connection can be a bit manipulated through media and advertising. Certainly we know that when we hear well and we see well, our brain is better able to manage that natural aging of the brain. We're more successful in our aging if we hear well and we see well. So, and scans of the brain show that over time, if you have untreated hearing loss, your auditory center recruits more neural resources away from short-term memory. Scans of the brain that show activity while receiving auditory speech show that. So we know that to be true. Now there's evidence that treating hearing loss can reverse those things, which is exciting, but we want to prevent that from happening if we can, and just keep our brain functioning as good as we possibly can. And so if you have vision impairment and hearing loss, you want to make sure you treat your hearing loss because it's just as important as your vision loss to your aging process. So thank you for bringing that up. Let's see. So people may say, why are my batteries running out? You know, my batteries are no longer lasting all day. Typically that's because your hearing aid batteries need replacing. Perhaps they're older and they need replaced. That's going to cost around $300 to $400 per device to have them replaced. I haven't seen any case yet where a manufacturer won't replace batteries in hearing aids, but that's probably going to come at some point. So that'll be hard when that happens for some of our patients, but you know, like we said, we expect hearing aids to last about 5 years. And so, you know, considering our first rechargeables were fit in 2019 or 2018, maybe even for, you know, some people, and we're still able to repair those, that's a good sign so far that they have good longevity and should be able to be serviced for quite some time. As far as that, other than that, I think some over-the-counter hearing aids are going to have poor battery life. We know that, you know, they're not meant for all different hearing losses or conditions. And so you're going to see, inconsistent battery life with, you know, inexpensive over-the-counter type solutions. So those are some things to consider. But generally, with the new rechargeable technology we have, we're seeing great success, happy patients, few repair issues. We're very pleased. So something just to keep in mind when you're considering rechargeable versus battery operated. I recommend rechargeable almost 9 times out of 10. Like I said, with the caveat being that for kids, rechargeable might not be the best solution, as well as for people with severe to profound hearing loss for safety reasons. So anyway, it was fun to have some engagement today. That was great. I think that's all I have for today. Our next hearing rehab will be April 3rd. Discussing a hearing aid technology update. So Starkey has had some good updates over the last year that we're seeing great success with, and we can talk about. Hopefully a couple other Resound has had quite a few updates in their technologies, so we'll talk about those. Phonak and Unitron have seen some improvements. So yeah, we'll be able to talk about some of those, and maybe there'll be more between now and then. We just don't know. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining. Stay safe and warm during these winter snowstorms we're getting. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's something I didn't comment on or discuss that I should have, please let me know. And have a great day and weekend. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.